We are going to get ready to read our story now. But to begin with, we're going to talk about our reading strategy that we've been working with. We have been learning how to reread something if we don't understand. Sometimes when we read something, it doesn't make a lot of sense to us. Good readers will reread or read the text again until they understand it. Sometimes that takes us reading it 3 or 4 times before we get it. Let's see how a good reader can use a strategy of rereading to understand the story. Here I read that an orange grew and it was fed. I don't understand what fed the orange. What did the orange eat that helped it grow? I'm going to reread it. It grew slowly and steadily, fed by the earth's soil and the ocean's breath. After I reread it, I understood that the soil and the ocean is what fed the orange. This story is what we call an informational text. Remember, informational text gives real information about real things. How do we know that this story is an informational text? Let's look at each characteristic. Here, the author describes an orange being soaked with rain and drenched in sunshine. The author gives information about what an orange needs to grow, and informational text always tell about real people, places, or things. Here it says over mountains, across deserts and plains. The author tells about the orange traveling in a truck. It gives us information about how real oranges get to the store so that we can buy them. Let's go ahead and read our story now.
An Orange in January by Diana Hutz Aston. Illustrated by Julie Marin. In a land that glowed with spring light, an orange blossomed.
I wonder what the main topic of this book will be. On this page, I read about an orange blossoming. I also know that the title of the book is An Orange in January, so I think the main topic is probably oranges. I will look for key details as I keep reading.
Bees feasted on nectar sweet as honey, until...
Did you hear the word that began with f? Listen again.
Bees feasted on nectar sweet as honey, until...
Feasted begins with the f sound. That's the letter F. I hear the word feast and feasted. To feast means to eat a large amount of food. Feast with an ed on the end of it must mean that the bees ate a large amount of food. It's already happened.
The petals fell away, and the orange began to grow into what it was meant to be.
On this page, I learned that the petals from the flower fall off and the orange begins to grow. These key details tell about the main topic of oranges.
It grew slowly and steadily, fed by the earth's soil and the ocean's breath.
What is the topic or the big idea on just these pages? What's the orange doing? It's growing, isn't it? What are the key details that tell about the big idea? It was fed by the earth's soil and the ocean's breath. What do you think is the ocean's breath? No, it's not the air coming from the ocean. You might think that, but think about what a plant needs to grow. It needs food from the soil. What else do we need to give it? Water. Plants need water to grow, don't they? So the ocean's breath is the water from the ocean.
Soaked with rain and drenched in sunshine, the orange grew plump and bright, until
I see different kinds of weather in the picture. I'll reread to find out why I see different types of weather.
soaked with rain and drenched in sunshine, the orange grew plump and bright, until
Oh, I see. The orange grows when it gets rain and sunshine. It needs both types of weather.
a hand, brown with seasons of sun, plucked it from its branch. While dew still glittered on the leaves, its days of growing were over, but there was life in it yet, and it still had far to go.
Did you hear one of our new sight words today? The word with? Can you find it on this page? It is right here. W-I-T-H is the word with. Remember, that's one of our new high frequency words this week.
From bag to basket.
How does the illustration help you understand what bag to basket means? I can see workers pulling oranges out of a bag into a huge basket. This shows me how oranges go from bag to basket. I think the workers probably carry bags when they're picking the oranges to put the oranges in. And then when the bag is full, they come and empty it into a big basket, because a bag is easier to carry than a basket.
Truck to truck.
What has happened to the orange so far? How could we find out if we don't remember? We could go back and we could reread the story. Let's look at this. First, the orange grew on a tree. We see it growing in this picture. Next, it was plucked off of the tree by a hand. Then it went from bag to basket. Now it's on a truck. So if we don't remember things, we can go back and reread or look at the illustrations or do both. And it can help us remember what's happening in the story.
It followed the skyway over mountains, across deserts and plains, until
I'm going to reread this, and I want you to see if you can find the word that has the f sound at the beginning. Listen closely.
it followed the skyway over mountains, across deserts and plains, until
Did you find the word that has the f sound at the beginning? Right here, followed begins with that f sound.
the orange arrived at a grocery store. There it rested, aglow with the goodness inside it, until
Where is the orange at now? Let's reread it to find out.
The orange arrived at a grocery store. There it rested, aglow with a goodness inside it, until...
That's right, it's at a grocery store.
Two hands, small and soft, took it from the pile and called it the best one of all.
I wonder what the boy will do with the orange next. I know that I like to eat oranges. Will he eat it next? Let's keep reading to find out.
Carrying it home, the child felt its roundness and imagined himself a juggler, a pitcher, a clown with an orange ball.
I'm not sure I understand all the things the boy imagined. I'm going to reread these pages to help me understand.
Carrying it home, the child felt its roundness and imagined himself a juggler, a pitcher, a clown with an orange ball.
Oh, I see now. The boy felt how round the orange was, and he imagined different things he could do with round objects. You could juggle a ball, you could pitch a ball, and you can be an orange with a clown with an orange ball. And the boy realized the orange was round like a ball, so he was picturing all the things he could possibly do with it.
That night, as ice gleamed on the branches, he dreamed of a land that shone in summer light.
Can you find the sight word he in this section? He is right here. Remember, he is spelled H-E. That's one of our new sight words this week that helps us become great readers because we see that word a lot.
When morning came, the orange reached the end of its journey, bursting with the seasons inside it.
Look at this word right here. It. That is the last word in the sentence. How do we know it's the last word in the sentence? Well, let me erase that mark and zoom in and we'll talk about it. Look at it a little bit closer now. Do you see this little dot right here after the word it? That little dot is a period. And that means it's the end of that sentence if you come to a punctuation mark. It might be a period, it might be a exclamation point, or it could be a question mark. Either way, that is the end of the sentence. Let's keep reading.
And two hands, pink with cold, shared its segments, so that everyone could taste the sweetness of an orange in January.
Why do you think the author wrote this story? Well, she might have wanted to give information about how an orange travels and grows and travels from a tree to a person, because we don't all have oranges growing in our backyard. Where we live, it's too cold to grow oranges. They grow down in the bottom of the country like Florida and California over by that ocean where it's nice and warm. So we might have always wondered, how do we get that orange in that store? So the author wrote this story so that now we know. We're going to do our retelling of the story now using these cards. What do you think's happening in this picture? An orange flower blossoms in an orange grove, and there's all kinds of animals there. There's birds and butterflies and bees, And the bees feast or eat from the flowers that's there. On this picture, what's happening? The orange is growing. The rain is soaking it. The sun is drenching it. And so the orange grows in the bright light and it gets everything it needs to grow. Look at our next picture. What's happening here? A man is picking the orange from the tree. The orange is finished growing, but it still has a long way to go. Here, what's happening? Well, the orange goes from the man's hand into a bag. Then they dump the bag into a big basket. Then, back here, we see a truck and a basket. The basket gets put in the truck, and the truck carries the orange away. Look at this picture. What is it showing? Well, the orange has traveled on the truck, and it's now in a grocery store. And the orange is full of goodness. A little boy picks it out and puts it in his hand. What's happening in this picture? It's winter outside and it's cold and snowing. The boy shares the orange with his friends, and the orange tastes sweet. So even though it grew in the summertime and it was nice and warm, now they're able to enjoy it in the winter too. Thank you for doing this video with me today, boys and girls. Have a great day.